Digger Does here. Welcome back to my channel. And today it's going to be a vlog. And I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, and you're probably wondering why I would be doing one. Well, I've been watching the news and following the elections, and it's been a crazy ride this last year, especially this last year regarding the elections. Now we have a new president. And of course, people are cheesed about Trump being our president, and um, they don't know how to react to it. Well, I want to talk about what I went through this year to choose who I was going to vote for, and then I'll talk a little bit about both parties and the results of, and so on and so forth. Um, Whenever this election started 2 years ago, there were so many running for president that I really didn't know who to choose from. And so I really kind of stepped out of the whole election race at the very beginning of it. But as it started narrowing down, I was really a big fan of Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson. And I thought he would be a great candidate for the Republican Party. And yes, I am a Republican. And but then as they started dropping off, it came down to Trump on the Republican side, and then you had Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton for the Democrats. Well, to be honest, I really didn't care for Trump to begin with, because as a disabled individual, I didn't like the way he treated people of different walks of life. And, the man's 70. He's going to to be set in his ways on certain things. And so I know I'm not going to be able to change how the man walks, talks, and thinks. So I was looking for an alternative for Trump. So I started looking at Bernie Sanders, and I really liked Bernie Sanders. In fact, this would have been the first time I voted against my party. But whenever Sanders lost the bid for the Democratic nomination, I was kind of bummed, because now I was left with Trump and Clinton. And I didn't like Clinton at all, mainly for the fact that her hands were dirty. She had blood on her hands, and she was surrounded by controversy. And for me, let me backtrack just a second and say this. I had no problem with her being a woman running for president. I would love to see a woman president. But my problem was the fact that there was too much controversy surrounding her. And I still didn't like Trump because of the way he dealt with minorities and so on and so forth. But, and there's a but in there, he did say some things during the election that kind of struck a chord with me, and I'll get to that in a minute. So then I started looking at alternate parties. If I wasn't going to give my vote to Trump or to Clinton, who could I give it to? Well, I live in a state where you cannot write in a candidate. So, luckily, Gary Johnson was on our ballot. He was on all 50 states' ballots, which I thought was awesome, because you rarely see a third party on the ballots. And I think in this time in America, we really should allow other parties to give us other options. Where the two-party system is over almost 200 years old, and it's really a little too political for me, in the way that these are lifelong politicians. They're just looking to keep stuff in their pockets. And something needs to change. It really does. And so I thought Johnson was the answer. That was up until about a week before the election. Trump said something that the media didn't pay attention to it. Nobody really caught on to until it happened. About a week before the election, Trump said that something major was going to happen with Obamacare. He said it was going to get worse, and boy, did it. Within a few days of the election, can't think of what you call them. Hang on a second. The premiums for Obamacare had jumped 25%, meaning that it's going to be even more difficult for people to have insurance. I myself, since I've been unemployed for about a little over a year, I was afraid I was going to have to pay a penalty for not having insurance. Thank God I didn't. Luckily, I did my taxes so late in the year that I didn't get hit with a penalty. So thankful for that. I was really happy about that. But there were millions of others out there that got hit with that penalty, and for some people that penalty is a big hit, and they would rather take the penalty than get insurance because insurance costs more than what the penalty did. But when Trump said that, and it actually happened, that's when I decided to, at the last minute, give my vote to Trump. Am I a Trump supporter? No. But when a man calls something he sees and it happens, and he warned us, to me, he's got the pulse. He's got his finger on the pulse of America. He's listening. Did Hillary listen? No. And that's what bothered me, is the fact that she was so mired in her own controversy that she was unwilling to really tell the American people what she was all about. Trump didn't either. Believe you me, they was too busy slinging mud at each other. I couldn't really learn about either one of them's platform. You know? So, now I'm going to say this about the two parties. The Republican Party really didn't have a big name politician they could have gone with. And so they wanted someone who had a name that they could latch on to and maybe win the campaign with. That was Trump. Then the Democratic Party, they were so unwilling to give up power to the Republicans that they were willing to do anything they can to get their candidate into office, including breaking the law. And that made me cringe quite a bit, because they had a chance to do things right. Bernie Sanders was a clean, no controversy, had political clout, and really could have done something. In fact, I would have voted for the man. He would have been the first Democrat I ever voted for. So they instead went with a candidate who had controversy all over them, and it mired her through the whole campaign. And rather than being honest, upfront, and upright with the American people, she kept lying about it. Got to the point where she was believing her own lies. And that's not good, folks. It's really not good. Those two things showed you that our two-party system is broken and things need to change. And for all of you people out there that are pointing the finger at Trump and saying he didn't play fair and blah, 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 I'm going to tell you something. Instead of pointing the finger at the other party and saying, well, they did all this and that's why we lost, you might want to turn the finger back at your own party. The Democrats could have won this had they gone with Sanders. But they chose to go with someone who was controversial. That's what hurt them. It had nothing to do with the fact that Hillary Clinton is a woman. It's the fact that there was too much controversy around her. So you all should be pointing the finger back at the people who are over the Democratic Party. They're the ones who screwed this up for you all. So that's where your anger ought to be, not at Trump. And I'll tell you something else. You guys that are out there setting fires to cars, breaking windows, attacking people, you are nothing but criminals. You are not protesters. If you were a real protester, you would not be doing those things. You would be sitting in silence, arm in arm, and having a peaceful demonstration. I'm open to hear your issues, but if you're going to do those things, you're nothing more than a criminal to me. And furthermore, you guys need to stop. You know, you're dividing us even more, and that's not what we need right now. We have a new president we need to get behind, and at least give the man a chance. I didn't cry, whine, beg, or borrow whenever Obama won, because believe you me, he's in the same boat as Hillary Clinton. His hands are dirty. He's got blood on his hands, and he's controversial. That man is hiding a lot from us. And I honestly think he was bad for America. But you didn't hear me crying and whine about it. He's our president, fine. I'll let the man do his job. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to like everything he does. And the same thing with Trump. I'm not going to like everything Trump has done. So where do we go from here? Well, first of all, let's let Trump get into office. Let's see what he can do. Sure, you know, everybody's reporting he's going to do this, he's going to do that. But you want to know what, folks? Nobody knows but him. You know, he may be saying, like, I watched the 60 Minutes part of it. A little 2-minute segment where he talked about Obamacare. And, you know, and this is something else you all need to understand. One of the traditions of entering office is you absorb some of the policies of the previous president. It's a tradition I hate. It's one that needs to be, it's one that needs to end for sure. But he said that in the interview, he said that he was going to keep the section where children that are still living with their parents up to the age of 25 can be covered under the insurance. And he's also going to keep, there was one other thing, my mind just went blank, but there was 2 parts of Obamacare that he wants to keep. And I'm okay with that. The 2 things he listed I can live with. But Obamacare as a whole needs to be repealed, and I'm with Trump on that. It needs to go bye-bye. And Ben Carson is being vetted as the man who's likely to help Trump fix that, and I'm happy about that. Carson's a great guy, and he's got some really good ideas on Obamacare, I should say Obamacare. He's got some ideas on what could be done to replace Obamacare. So I'm all thumbs for that. So we need to settle down, come together, and support our president, and just let the man do his job for the first 100 days. see how he does, and then once he hits that 100 days, you are free to lambaste that man any way you want. But until then, folks, we need to settle down. Stop the rioting. Stop hurting people. Stop talking politics. Now that it's over, stop it. And just grab your neighbor, hold on to them, and pray that the good Lord will guide the people in office and change this country. Because the road we're headed down now is filled with godliness, a lack of respect for each other. And that's not what we want for our country. You know, I pride myself on being American first, because this is a great country where you can come here and make something of yourself. But with that being said, there's no need for all this other stuff. It's done. It's stamped. And you know, I've been hearing, and then one more thing before I go. I've been hearing people about signing a petition to the electorates and Hillary could be reelected president. There's a reason why we have the Electoral College and why we don't go by popular vote anymore. Even though our votes count as a popular vote. The thing is, because there's so many problems with the voting process, every year there's always something. It would take months, even a year, for those ballots to be counted and recounted and counted again until they're finally happy with the count. In the meantime, we've got to move on. We can't sit there and wait for that count to be done. So what we have done, the Electoral College is there so that we send people from our state to vote on our behalf for the president. And like in Oklahoma, we have seven electoral votes. So that means 7 people are chosen by the will of the people to choose our next president. In California, I think it's 29. So you're sending 29 individuals to vote on behalf of your state. Those people vote the will of the people. They say this is what we want. And in this election, they overwhelmingly chose Donald Trump. And even in the popular vote, Trump won most of the popular vote. And what does that mean? We want change. We're tired of the same old, because, folks, we're headed down a dangerous path. Our country no longer has a AA rating when it comes to credit with other nations. We have become a debtor nation. We're trillions of dollars in debt. We are heading toward economic ruin, and that's got to change. And this man could do that for us. So, folks, please, I'm begging you, come together as family. We are a family in this nation. Come together under our president and really try to do something to make this country great again. And I'm not using Trump's slogan. I am serious about this. The Obama people and the Clinton people want you to think this country is already good the way it is. And to some degree it is, but we're doing things that are tearing that down. And we need to bring it back up. So, please give President Trump a chance. And let's just see where it goes from here. This is Duger Daz saying do good and deuces, and God bless you all. Bye-bye.